Welcome to Business Leader Breakthroughs, where we help unlock the potential in you, your teams, and your business. I'm your host, Ryan Castle, along with Dr. Mike Ashby. We'll share insights, experiences, and stories on achieving breakthrough success in business and life. In addition to a podcast, The Breakthrough is a coaching and advisory business that provides programs for business leaders, owners, and managers to develop your skills and capabilities to boost your business and enjoy a better life. To learn more, click the link in the episode show notes or go to thebreakthrough.co. Now let the breakthroughs begin. Hi there, I'm Ryan Castle and I'm joined here by my business partner, Dr. Mike Ashby. Welcome along, team, to this podcast. Great to have you here. Look, we're from the Breakthrough Company, and our purpose here at the Breakthrough is to help business owners and managers get the very best from three areas. We want them to get the best from their business, the best from their team, and certainly the best from themselves as well. Mike, what are you focused on in today's podcast?
I've been thinking about how we get our head, our hearts, and our hands all working on the same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just something I've been kind of exploring. Actually, I was on a presentation and was starting to go explore this kind of idea of identity, and ended up going in the middle of it thinking, actually there's three parts to it, isn't there? There's the kind of the way we think, there's how we feel, and there's what we do. And it's relevant, I think, because, you know, like most of us, we've had times when we've struggled to get engagement or struggled to get traction. And we've worked with lots and lots of business owners who report that, you know, I can sort of, you know, it just feels like we're wading through molasses, walking through melted marshmallow as we try and make stuff happen, but we can't seem to get there. And I think that's a reasonably common thing. Sure. We just get a bit stale, we get a bit stuck. So I guess for us, going back, 12, 18 months, you know, we were seeing that our flagship product, which had been going really well, was starting to decline, was starting to move into maturity. All products do that, and we're a product business. So we needed some kind of renewal. And we did try various things, didn't we?
Yeah.
We tried channels.
Yeah, and I think the big part that we saw, that the product and the client experience was still really, really strong. But we'd seen a bit of a shift in the market, and then the sales that were coming through that had previously been quite easy to come by. Seemed to be just getting harder and harder, and we kept trying different things, and maybe, we need to do a bit more of this and a bit more of that, and let's talk to this channel and let's advertise there. But we still weren't really getting the uptake that we'd previously seen.
And we put a lot of work into some of those channels, you know, institutional partners, which, what can we say? We learned a lot about what didn't work.
We learned a lot, and we've got the scars, or at least the calluses from the hard work to show for it.
Yeah, and you know, so I guess where we got to was a recognition that we needed to change, and we had the idea, and the big idea had been kind of sitting there for a while, and it was around clearly a digital offering, because that is where our world is at, of course. But I think the other piece that happened for us was that once we got into the combination of the channel and the new product, which was primarily around active management, and it was focused on managers, and we were able to apply all our content, we could bring our heart to it. And we got passionate about what we were doing. And that was our transformation. The last 12 months have just been this exercise in growth and just learning more and more and more. That's the real story of momentum for us, has been about how we had a big idea, how we got got our heart into it, got our heart and soul into it, and how our hands have kind of followed. So I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. And I think what we've seen is, because our heart was in it, the energy that you and I personally have brought to that, but also the energy that our team have shared has been phenomenal. Yeah. And Mike and I are both fortunate that we've coached thousands of business owners between us and business leaders. And we see this scenario where there's almost a sense of kind of trying to muddle through. We get to a new year, we come back from a holiday, and we're like, what are we going to do this year? And often the inspiration or lack thereof is, how do we do 5% more sales this year? And it doesn't engage the heart. No. We're not very excited about it. It just feels like, how are we going to keep squeezing the same old lemon that feels like most of the juice is gone? How are we going to keep going with that? So that muddling through we find it common for people to be in that zone, it doesn't work.
No.
So what do we need to do differently?
Well, I think that's where we really need to kind of think about this head, heart and hand stuff, and when I think about this now, I think we've always talked about how ideas come first, and the way we think drives what we do, and what we do drives what we get. I've been kind of thinking about, well, in that idea stage, what's going on in there, and I've been really interested in the concept of identity, which goes to who we are, because it's a whole lot easier to make change and perform when what we're trying to do is consistent with our identity. So for me, the new world of thinking, if you like, is about what is our intention? What is it that we're trying? Let's get really clear about, and that's a logical, rational kind of thinking thing that we've got to do.
Sure.
So that's our intention. But the next bit is, what's our identity? Where does our heart take us? I think about that in the context of, at one level, simple piece of research that says, why do people return wallets when they find a wallet on the ground and they take it to the local police station? What the only common thing is, that's what people like me do. I'm the kind of person who returns wallets. I think about things like healthy eating in my own kind of journey from a reasonably, how shall I say, relaxed and not very healthy kind of approach when I was younger, and you could get away with it. But over time, my identity now is I am a healthy eater. I eat healthy foods. Gee, that makes choices on menus and choices in cafes and stuff and choices at home so much easier because I operate very consistently with my identity, and you'd be the same, right?
Oh, totally. And I think it takes away that I feel like I'm missing out because it's part of your identity and what you think about. You when you're making those choices, just kind of like, this is who I am. It's the same for exercise for me. I'm a person that exercises. I don't have to go, I really don't want to, or it doesn't work for me. It's just like, that's kind of part of my identity.
Believe it or not, I do exercise too.
You do?
I know.
You do. I know this.
And the intention part is, I say, one of the things I've got is, I will do 4 hours exercise a week. That's not as powerful as being, I am somebody who exercises 4 hours a week.
Absolutely.
And like you, it's kind of, the default setting is I will be exercising because that's what I do. So that's what I mean by identity, and that's really about the heart piece. And then the action is the hands, and that's what follows. We go and do the exercise, whatever that might be. Interestingly, the more we practice that action, the more we kind of reinforce that identity and that intention, the stronger it becomes until it becomes. So how do you create identity? Actually, it's in part through action. Repeated action, repetition, learning, all of that stuff feeds straight into your identity. So that intention, identity, action piece becomes one of those kind of nice reinforcing, you get vicious cycles. This is a virtuous cycle, guided by the intention bit. I think probably the easiest thing to do is the action and the identity piece can become a bit default, so it needs to be guided by rethinking, regularly rethinking, recasting. But I think that's what great performance looks like, what improvement looks like when we've got a great idea, when our heart is in it, we're all in, as we talked about last time, and our hands kind of follow that. So we practice. We do stuff that reinforces that, and we do it over and over again.
And we know where it falls over is that if any one of those components is missing, you can have great work on 2 of them, but if you don't have the third, it just doesn't work. So Absolutely. We need the head, the hands, and the heart.
Yep, totally. Yep.
Yeah. So here's a little bit of a framework of how you might think about this for yourself. So start with think about what you want. Like, what is your big idea? What is the thing you want to get going? Really zero in on that thing, and it's got to be something that resonates with you. It's got to have that heart component to what's in there. So think about that, and then the hands. What are the actions we're actually going to go and take to make that happen? And we've just got to make sure that our actions, what we're doing, is lined up with our heart and our head as well. So get clear, make sure it's aligned with your heart, and then let's go and take some real action. So that really is the framework to make this stuff happen.
And for us, our transformation has been, we settled. It's evolved actually over the 12 months in combination, exactly as we say, with that the head, the heart, the hands, and the head bit's changed as a consequence of what we've been able to do. Our big idea now is global.
Absolutely.
That we are a global online training company, business leaders. The heart piece is still, that's probably grown too, because we're now saying, our purpose, what really gets us going. Not only the idea of changing business owners' lives for good or business leaders' lives for good, it's now let's change 1 million lives. Let's create a really successful business. And those two parts, both the mission around 1 million lives and creating a really successful business, it's not about the money. It's about what we are passionate about, what stands as success for us. And then in terms of the hands, the way we've divvied up, I'm doing the stuff I absolutely love to do, which is developing loads of content. You're doing the stuff that you love to do and you're really good at.
Yeah, which is to make this work, we need great platforms, we need good technology, and we need to get it to people, which is the marketing piece. And without that combination of great content, great platforms, and great marketing, we can have the very best idea in the world and the best intention, but we've got to get that hands bit working to really make it come to life.
And those things have actually grown in the last 12 months. The scale of that ambition and the clarity of that vision has grown in the last 12 months, and it's grown because we've got good at doing it, which is what I'm saying about how our action can reinforce that cycle, and it becomes an upward spiral. It creates real momentum. 12 months ago when we was talking about this, we weren't talking global, we weren't talking 1 million lives.
No.
We were talking, let's go online, let's do this piece, I think this can work. And we found it does work. We found that we're really good at it, that we love to do it, and that's kind of continued to fuel the growth. So that's kind of how we've done our transformation. And looking back, as is often the case, we didn't set out to say, what does our head say, what does our heart say, what does our hand say?
Yeah, sure.
But actually that's what we have done. And I guess what you can do as people watching and listening to this is think about, and I guess it's right at the heart of our business freedom plan. We've captured that, encapsulated that in a series of steps. The first one is, what's the vision for the business? And it needs to be a great big idea. It needs to be something that excites you, that captures your imagination, but also resonates for you at a heart level. And then on the personal side,
for us and the team.
That
has been a really critical part, and we see lots of owners talk about profit aspirations or turnover aspirations, and you're like, hey, look, that's kind of cool, and look, you do need those in your business, but you turn around and talk to your team about those, and they're kind of probably going to glaze over. Unless they're the CFO, but they might be quite interested. But the rest of the team wants to know, why are we doing what we're doing? And that's I think it's a really
that goes right
point.
to the heart.
Of course it does. It's the huge part.
It's got to resonate with them, and we see in our team people who literally love to come to work, love to do this work, and that that's what is taking us forward. So there's the vision piece, the personal goals, because it's really important in our philosophy that we have this balance, not just because it's a nice thing to have, but actually we know that personal well-being drives business success, because that's about energy, that's about mental space. And I suppose that third thing is around being clear about what you're not going to do anymore. Because we know that if we try and add this on top of everything else, it's just too much and you won't get to it. So one of the first things we talk through with people is, how do you create space? How do you create space for something great? It's kind of what you say no to creates the space, and what you say yes to creates your world. But in the first place, I think you've got to do that space. And then the other part, the fourth step, is to identify, what are you going to practice? Because as we said, it's that practice that reinforces, and with that development comes bigger ideas, more passion for what we're doing, bigger actions, just all keeps going. That's what momentum looks like.
And we talk a lot with our members about repetition is the mother of skill. And as you alluded to earlier, Mike, it's almost the accidental brilliance of the outcome, because we have practice. How do we do digital a bit better? How do we do marketing a bit better? How do we make our content a bit better? How would we attract people more effectively? And we've practiced and practiced and practiced to make that happen. I think Bruce Lee, the famous martial artist, said once, "I'm never afraid of a man who's done 10,000 kicks, but I'm very afraid of the man that's done one kick 10,000 times." And I think it's the same thing here. Get clear on what it is you want to get done, make sure it's aligned with your heart, and then get really, really good at that thing that you're trying to get nailed.
Yeah. That kind of deliberate practice, that same kick over and over and over again until you are perfect, and you never are, because the better you get, the more you know that you need to do. And that's that kind of endless improvement. Yeah,
indeed. Okay, so there's a few do's and don'ts for our audience. What should we be doing? Look, I think we talked a lot about the value of sharing your vision with the team. It's great because they get aligned and they're there to support you. I think the other thing is that public declaration of your vision. When we talk with our team about changing and influencing a million lives, they're now holding us to account around that. How do we get it done? So I think that's really useful. Do the practice until it becomes part of your identity.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, coming back to the I choose a healthy option when I look at a menu. You've now practiced that so many times, you almost don't have to think about it.
Yep. Default setting.
Yeah, default setting.
Yep.
Hey, and just to be clear, not to say that there can't be some good beer battered fries in there every now and then.
Curly fries, I still go for those, but it's a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a good choice.
And look, then let that identity fuel even bigger dreams. I think that's really a powerful thing, and we've experienced that in our own business, where we set some aspirations, which when we look at them now, we're probably quite contained, and but they've evolved, and we've got more confidence, and the better we've got at things, we've got going.
I used a little example. I might have said it last time. One of the team was sort of screening my calls to make sure I wasn't swamped, which is not such an issue because I don't do busy. And I said, "Oh, look, you don't have to do that." And Kate said, "Well, you might want me to when we go global." And I said, "We are global." And it changes everything when you think like that, because you look at everything in the context of, well, we were that, but this is what we are now. And this is how an organisation or a business like that operates. So, and that in turn fuels, it just destroys barriers, totally destroys barriers.
So people that are out there going, "Hey, Mike, I love what you're saying. I totally identify with the head, the heart, and the hands action." What would be something that they really should avoid? Where could they fall off the wagon with this?
Yeah, look, I think the worst thing you can do is sell yourself short. Just make it a little idea, make it a little improvement, as opposed to going all in, as we talked about last time, and setting yourself something that excites you and scares you at the same time. That's the perfect measure. But it is that kind of, let's conceive of something that we can't imagine achieving, but that resonates. If it's just a kind of big number and your heart's not in it, then it's not gonna do anything. But something big that stretches your imagination, that engages your heart, that goes, yeah, I like that idea. And there's no reason or rhyme for it. It's yours, right? We were talking last night, Francesca and I, about travel and the places we want to go. And there's a whole lot of places that we could go, a million places we could go. And you go, Germany, not so much. Berlin, why? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's not
Christmas
important.
markets.
Oh, Christmas markets.
Or Beer Fest.
Actually, I was just thinking of the kind of architecture and the vibe. Right. It's the vibe of the thing.
So cultured. So cultured.
Yeah. Actually, I really want to go to Morocco. Why? I don't know. But
Moroccan lamb?
Yeah, Moroccan. So it doesn't matter why. The thing is, it's from the heart. And only you have to justify that. And you don't even have, it's just what you want. And then the actions follow.
Okay. Yeah. So what's the first thing that people need to go and do? Great ideas. I know what I should avoid, which is not being aligned with my heart. What's the first action? What do people go and make happen?
Look, I think it's about thinking about what do you want for yourself. That point about how you can create something that is meaningful to you and that can serve others. I think it comes to that. But I think it's starting with a commitment to give yourself time and space to let your imagination run and to see where your heart goes with that. Is that a sort of
Yeah,
a
I think
concrete answer?
I think it does.
Yeah. Take
I think
15 minutes to think about it.
Yeah,
You know?
I think the sometimes putting a time limit around this, when you go, what's my big idea? What can I do? You go, I probably need to spend months thinking about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually,
That's
we
true.
ran a design thinking workshop with one of our partner coaches a couple of weeks back, and there was immense power when he was going, you've got to come up with a whole lot of ideas, but you've got 2 or 3 minutes to do it. Grab your post-it notes, write them down. It was amazing how much we got generated in that time.
I'll tell you what, I think I've told you the story, but I came up with the framework for the book, the Breakpoints book, when a guy said to me just before I was about to go on stage with a full presentation, it was about 5 minutes before, he said, so you're all, you got your awesome on mic, all this kind of stuff. You got to. Why don't you tell them the 4 things that every business owner must do in order to achieve business growth? And I thought, oh, that's a good question. And so I had about I had a deck that I just junked and thought, I'm just going to talk about the 4 things, and that's how we got the get a life, get clear, get free, get help.
Absolutely.
And it's endured for I don't know, 7 or 8 years.
Oh, and it's still such a core. What we've been talking about today is our own aspirations and what we've built personally, and the business freedom plan product is what we've done, and it still is served by those 4. So certainly, if anyone's looking for more of a step-by-step guide about how they build this, how they create time and space, how they do get a life, get clear, get help, then that is a product that will help you go through that step by step, and you can see a link for that in the show notes.
Yeah, and I think the power of it in that context was I didn't have much time to think about it. It's just creating that time and getting rid of the obstacle in your mind, which is this will take too long. Setting yourself a time limit around it is a good way of kind of driving the result faster.
Yeah. Let's stop muddling through, people. Let's get out there and make it happen. Thanks for joining us today. Really hope you've appreciated it. We'd follow us here, and we look forward to bringing you another episode very shortly.
Yeah, go all in.
Nice.